Good day. Thank you for joining us for today's news. If you find this helpful, please consider subscribing. We're here every day with calm, clear updates just for you.
The Chief Human Rights Commissioner has called New Zealand's proposed voting reforms a backward step for democracy. The changes, which include banning prisoner voting and same-day voter enrollment, have sparked fierce debate. The Commissioner, Dr. Stephen Rainbow, argues that the reforms undermine efforts to make voting more accessible, especially for younger people. He warns that at a time when trust in democratic institutions is already fragile, making it harder to vote could further erode public confidence. The government has defended the changes as necessary to modernize the electorate. As the electoral amendment bill moves forward, the focus will be on whether these reforms truly serve democracy or risk alienating key groups of voters. The coming weeks are expected to bring more scrutiny and public debate on this contentious issue.
In the Western Bay of Plenty, residents of Te Puke are growing increasingly frustrated with the frequent flooding that has become a part of their lives. Homes in Muir Place are particularly vulnerable, situated just a few hundred meters from the Hinianganga stream, which swells rapidly during heavy rain. Local landowner Peter Willis has experienced 6 major flooding events since 2022, with the worst occurring during the Auckland anniversary weekend in 2020. His shed was partially submerged at the newly developed Taimania subdivision has worsened the flooding situation with stormwater from the devaluation. They are calling on the Western Bay of Plenty District Council to build a stock bank to protect their homes. Meanwhile, Kate King has raised concerns about the lack of maintenance on a downstream culvert which has been blocked by debris. Late Bev Steenson, who is in her 80, said the council acknowledges the flood risk in the area and has committed to investigating potential solutions, but residents are demanding immediate action to protect their homes and livelihoods.
The Gaza crisis has reached a critical point, with international pressure mounting on Israel as images of suffering Palestinians flood the news. A coalition of 28 nations and condemned the denial of humanitarian aid to the region. But what comes next? New Zealand has the opportunity to take further action, and several are paying. One possibility is a complete halt to trade with Israel, a move that could send a strong signal against the occupation. Another is reforming immigration policies to allow more Palestinians to seek refuge in New Zealand. There's also the potential for an intelligence inquiry into New Zealand's role in the Five Eyes network. Additionally, withdrawing from a US-led coalition in the Red Sea could be a symbolic step away from backing Israel's military actions. Finally, referring Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu to the International Criminal Court for war crimes related to the use of starvation as a weapon could be a bold but controversial move. These options, though not insignificant, remain within New Zealand's sovereign rights and reflect a growing global push for a rules-based international order. The world is watching to see whether New Zealand will take a stand or remain on the sidelines.
A tragic 3-car crash on George Bott Memorial Drive has left 1 person dead and another seriously injured, commutely blocking the main route to Auckland's airport. Commuters are now facing severe delays as detours are in place, with police urging travelers. The emergency services are on the scene, and local residents have even stepped in to help clear the crash site, with the airport and surrounding areas in turmoil. The situation highlights the unpredictable nature each.
New Zealand is on the brink of repealing its oil and gas ban, a move that has ignited fierce debate in Parliament. The government has introduced a last-minute amendment, granting ministers the power to decide who bears the cost of decommissioning oil and gas fields. This comes in response to the expensive $23 million. Resource Minister Shane Jones argues the change closes a loophole in a 2021 law, ensuring the Crown doesn't shoulder such liabilities in the future. However, Labour MPs have criticized the government for prioritising industry interests over public and environmentals. In Info SJ, Meanwhile, the government has set aside $200 million for new gas investments and recently withdrew from the Beyond Oil and Gas Alliance, a move that has drawn international criticism. The future of the oil and gas sector in New Zealand remains uncertain, as the government faces growing pressure to balance economic revival with environment.
Auckland is grappling with a sharp rise in homelessness. With a 90% increase reported since September last year, councillors are calling for government intervention as recent policy changes have made it harder for people to access. A range of factors contribute to the crisis, including policy shifts, while the government is working on initiatives like new social homes and transitional housing programs. Critics argue that the current policies lack compassion. The Ministry of Social Development reports that nearly 40% of immersion houses stay repage. As the situation worsens, the challenge remains to balance policy, compassion, and long-term solutions to ensure that no one in Auckland is left without shelter. With the number of people sleeping on the streets, in cars, or in tents increasing rapidly, the urgency.
A tragic incident involving a 12-month-old baby who allegedly died after receiving an adult dosage of phosphate has sparked a nationwide conversation. Avoid to force the country are warning that the profession is under immense pressure, with a severe workforce shortage and inadequate funding contributing to a growing crisis. One pharmacist with over 30 years of experience described the situation as a recipe for disaster, urging the government to halt the issuance of new pharmacy licenses until the works can recover. Bellamere Arwen Duncan's parents are calling for a law change that would require medication to be checked by two people before dispensing, a measure. Former pharmacists and current practitioners alike are echoing the call for systemic reform, emphasizing the need for better resources, funding, and support for the profession. As investigations continue, the voices of pharmacists, parents, and medical professionals are converging on a single message: without urgent action, more lives of pharmacists, parents, and medical men.
A tragic crash near Auckland Airport has left one person dead and caused major traffic delays. The collision occurred on George Bolt Memorial Drive just after 4 a.m., with emergency service quickly arriving on the scene. Photos show extensive damage to two Vs as detours are in place. The serious crash unit is on site and investigations are ongoing to determine the cause. This incident has once again highlighted the need for road safety in high-traffic areas around the airport. As the community grieves, authorities are working to clear the scene and restore normal traffic flow.
New Zealand's healthcare system is in crisis. Health NZ, the government body managing public hospital staffing, has admitted it can't afford to employ all the nurses eager to work, despite having more than enough qualified nurses ready to take up positions. Financial constraints have limited the number of hires up in employ 5 per the advanced choice of employment. This has left many nursing students and recent graduates feeling failed by the system. Meanwhile, over 36,000 nurses, midwives, and healthcare assistants are set to strike for 24 hours, protesting not just overpaying. The challenge for health NZ is clear: to find a balance between financial responsibility and the urgent need for adequate staffing, with healthcare workers walking off the job in protest. The pressure is mounting for a resolution that had brought the system to a tipping point.
A tragic accident has unfolded near Auckland Airport, leaving one person dead and another hospitalized. The crash, which occurred on George Bolt Memorial Drive, has caused significant traffic delays and forced emergency service to travel, has prompted diversions for travelers. While the airport's terminals remain accessible, the main road into the precinct is impacted and detours are now in place. Authorities are urging those traveling to and from the airport to allow extra time for their journeys. A lane has been opened for southbound traffic to help ease congestion, but the overall destruction soon. As the serious crash unit investigates the incident, crews the need for continued vigilance and adherence to traffic management protocols. For now, travelers are being asked to follow directions from emergency services.
That's all for today's news. We appreciate your time. If you enjoyed this update, please consider subscribing. Your support helps us keep going.